Hey, what's up guys? This is Oakley and we are again on patch 15. Let me introduce the players. So I myself am playing as Pontus. This is going to be Blackjack from the Bear Clan as Baktria. Then we have Attilla the Hun as Rome. I'm going to give a shout out to him. He has his own YouTube channel, so I'll provide that in the description below. Make sure to check him out. He posts some Total War content. He's a pretty good player and definitely enjoyed playing with him and his ally, who is going to be Void from the Sith clan. So you can see the factions obviously here. Now, facing off against us is going to be a pretty big force, and the way we're going to decide to deal with that, or the way we decided to deal with it before we started this game, was going to be to have a little bit of a trick. Well, maybe not a trick, but they never said no artillery, even though artillery is usually forbidden in these types of rules. They just didn't say it, so I went ahead and took one artillery piece. Now, it's not going to be a make or break type of deal, like it's not overpowered, it's not a huge catapult or anything that has huge range, but what it does do is, if you want to look at this, look at the range, the arc that it gives us. This can effectively shut down this flank, which is exactly what we want to do against these equites. So our goal was to bring a lot of these horse archers. So my ally has 3, Blackjack is going to deploy those, and you'll see the effect that those guys has is incredible. So first, these guys are getting in range. He realizes he's in range when I start firing. It's not going to be enough to prevent the loss of 3 cavalry units already. And then I have some of my own Scythian horse archers who are going to start sort of probing and forcing the Romans to get into this effect. We charged forward, tried to get an assassination on the bodyguard of this general, only got 1 kill, and then pulled out before we could take any damage. As of the last patch, it does seem like these horse archers are much more responsive. They fire a lot, they move quicker, so we were able to use these guys to great effect. Anyways, anytime the Roman cavalry tries to chase off my guys, I'm able to get, just continual fire on them, and this is going to really force them to engage. It looks like because their entire line is moving up, they're just not going to leave their forces behind. What I would have done is just, steered wide of this. But I would have just continued to pick them off, as I'm doing with my horse archers. And I would say, don't be this cautious. That was a problem that he was having, was being a bit cautious. Every time we did a back and forth, that gave me more time to get shots off. Anyways, I'm continuing to force him back this way, pulling him back. And that's kind of the name of the game for our entire army, is going to be to continue to pull back. And I really want this whole cavalry force, even with some reinforcements, to get pulled into this front. I have some of my own javelin men here. Those guys are going to be great to massacre these horse archers once they're engaged. And then I have some bronze shield pikemen just to make sure they can't push too far forward. Some archers are in the front just to get some initial shots off, but it's the spear gladiatrices from the women's sort of DLC. So those guys are more heavily armed. But keep taking a look at this. We have these guys up close, heavy shot. This is at 120 evocati. By the time they get up here, they're going to be down to 13. These horse archers are just animals. Anyways, here comes 6 Roman units. Keep in mind that I'm reinforcing with 1 more blood cav. 6 Roman units against 4 of mine. But because of the way that I'm using my forces, we'll see what happens. Who knows? But yeah, I'm baiting them out here. I know that he has an attack order on these units, so I'm going to bait him to charge here. And then I'm going to do an about face with my royal cav here. Actually, I only have 3 melee cavalry. One of them is a horse archer. So it's 6 of these Roman cav against 3 of my own. So here you go. I'm going to tell them to charge into the flank of these guys. I'm pulling them out as long as possible. I'm going to do a bout face and then charge into the equites. But I'm basically getting a surround here. Just 2 of my guys against 3. I know the superior quality will allow me to win. And then I'm going to come and have these guys charge into the equites. He's doing a good job of not throwing all his forces against my guys. So he's going to spread them out a little bit. But look at this. This double charge that I got against the equites, plus the fact that they're not very strong, means they're absolutely routing. My horse archers are going to keep the fire up, and then I'm repositioning these javelin men to get fire into the flanks of these Romans. So this will clean them up, even though it was 6 versus 3. Over in the center, like I was saying, we're just doing our best to avoid and waste the shots of those archers, and we're picking off these evocati. So already they're down to 108, and here comes another batch of the horse archer volleys. Watch this. An absolute massacre of the Romans. They were down to, they had 108 before, now they're 91, so I can just keep pulling back. It's going to mean I am sacrificing this unit here, but that's fine. They've done enough to get their kills. And yep, here goes the rest of the Roman force. They tried to push into my javelin men, but I had some bronze shield pikemen to try and ward them back. At this point, they're going to call in for the help of the scythe chariots, so here they go coming in. Basically, this force over here is just a holding force, and they're making sure to pick off any of the guys who get too close. At this point, Seleucids are going to realize that they're too stretched out, or maybe not stretched out, but they're focusing on too small a force. So he's going to send his reinforcements over to this front. Romans are going to pick off those forces, and I'm just going to keep pulling back. And look at this. Like I said, we're down to 30, and the damage is just going to keep rolling. Over here, I'm still putting on the shots to his guys, and I reformed my javelin men just because I knew in the distance the size chariots were going. I kind of have a sacrificial jav unit here. I was figuring he wouldn't take the bait, so I kept them here just to do damage initially, but he's going to keep going for it. So I kind of left them here, and at the last moment I pulled him back. Like, oh, holy shit, he's coming. He tries to do an about face, but it's too little too late. I'm going to catch some of his guys. Some of them do get through. He's desperately trying to keep clicking attack orders, but they get caught. Looks like their mass has changed. And then I'm going to reform with my pikemen and just give them hell. Over on this front, the Romans are finally going to connect with me. I decided enough is enough. Let's turn around and face them. But look what we have coming in the distance. Elephants, which have the ability to just crush these guys. And then we're sending in Baktria and Royal Cap to just knock out the Roman archers who are left undefended. So these chariots are still alive, but looks like they're routing. It was able to just absolutely dismember my Pontic swordsman unit, so they're down to 70, and then they get intercepted by Evocati, so those guys are going down. But, it bought me enough time to at least finish off these Roman units. My cavalry are in pretty good order, I would have to say. I'm going to lose this one probably soon. Scythians are getting some final parting shots, and this Roman unit that's trying to chase them is going to get killed. I'm going to keep them around here for a little longer, and then I'm going to charge into the back. Over on this front, don't want you guys missing out on this. Here come the elephants. This is something out of Pelennor Fields with the elephants coming in and just massacring what's left of this blob. The javelins are going to be doing a lot of damage here, and look in the distance. Waves and waves of cavalry. Everything being committed to this front. That's a pretty good move to try and stop these elephants, but it just means look how much chaos and damage and wasted ammo is going on here just to take out one elephant unit, and it's biding time for us to clean up the rest of the battle. So they're out of control at this point. It's going to be some problems for us because look at this. They're going to decide to charge right into these horse archers. But mostly they're going to be doing a lot of damage on this front. Here are the Romans, and this is going to be pretty decisive. Now that we've got them smack against the wall. Boom, here we go with our hammer. Just crushing the Romans. They are Evocati, so they'll hold out for a while. But, yeah. Oh, shit, here come the elephants. Out of control. Kind of perfect. No, they turned about. Well, at least... Oh, wow, they rallied just at the last moment before they were going to kill us. The other one is still alive. So yeah, we're crushing these Romans. I was able to finally clean up this mess of cavalry, and I still have some of my own cavalry still alive. I'm skirting around with these Scythian horse archers, going to position them in the back. Our own horse archers are still alive, still putting on the pressure. This group of infantry that thought they had reformed is now going to be facing another group of elephants. So these elephants are definitely doing a lot of good. They're not going to last very long, as you can see with all the javelins coming in. There is some friendly fire with those javelins, so it's pretty good for us, I guess. But yeah, these elephants are not going to last long. And there we go, toppling. That's going to be the end of our elephant force, but I think it was worth it considering the amount of just chaos we were able to smack down right there. Evocati are still alive despite all that we're doing. Going to push these pikemen back through here, hopefully soon. My own archers were positioned really close. I just wanted to deal, point-blank range. Some of those arrows are deflecting, bouncing off these shields. This guy already has 3 in the boss of his shield. But, oh, that guy just takes one in the neck, and we're starting to get some cross shots. Now, over in this position, I'm setting up a flank, somewhere for these Scythian horse archers to fall back to. And, yeah, I have some of these bronze shield pikemen that are going to try and hold that force back as they come in. So we are going to kind of intercept them. The cavalry are going to be turned to the side. I'm going to countercharge with some of my own Pontic Royal Cap to intercept that force. So it did enough to save our guys, and then we still have all of these horse archers and foot archers just getting on some shots against his guys. He's going to try and keep skirting around here, and I'm going to reposition my bronze shield pikemen at this point, and then we're going to retreat behind there and reform. They're going to be committing a lot more forces to this front. It's a pretty good idea considering that they were committing too much initially to this force, and they're just going to be sending a pretty big army, decently balanced, over to take us out. However, this is going to be pretty bad. Oh, he stopped his unit at the last moment, but against my pikes, we're going to start getting some initial shots, and mostly the rows and rows of archers in the back are going to be what's turning this into a really fatal mistake and a fatal flaw for this force. So they try and disengage, but we do a general's ability on them. It's going to force them to start wavering en route. They were able to break free somewhat, and this is going to be, sort of making up for the fact that they charged into a partial spear unit. They're going to massacre my javelin unit, so there they go. We're going to countercharge with our Scythian guys from all sides. They're not meant for melee combat, but in these numbers, they can do a lot of damage. My own guys continue to pick them off. And here for my force, Romans finally died, so I'm going to start putting on the pressure. Now, if we're going to assess what's going on here, it's kind of a problem for us because we only have, one Eastern Javelin unit left, whereas they have a lot of these Persian light archers. That means they can neutralize those javelins and then go to town on these pikemen. So we're going to have to bring in some more reinforcements. Here they go, thankfully. And so it's going to be my job to try and come in here, with these Scythian horse archers in the back. And I'm going to try and distract these archers. We're going to have to see what they do to keep me from doing that. In any case, continue to get some shots on here. They're pouring in all of this damage in here, just trying to knock out my general. That's a pretty good move. They want to deal a morale blow because they know these hoplites can't move very quickly. I did catch some of the thorax swordsmen on the flank, so I'm going to be chewing into them. These archers still lots and lots of ammo. Putting in the fire here. I'm going to form another pikeman block here, and you can see what I'm trying to do is just sequester these forces in this little nook. They're going to continue to envelop our guys, and yeah, the remainder of our forces are going down. Here goes a charge straight into the pikes. So we're going to start cutting these guys down, but I think he did that to try and pin my forces down, and then once he finished off my general, the idea was to come around and knock these guys out. However, it probably wasn't the best idea to do that just yet because they didn't have the timing down, and I can just pincer these guys from both sides. This is where the remainder of the Roman infantry and the Praetorian Guard, these guys are going to kick some ass. Well, I guess this was a good move. You know, he baited all of my guys into this front, and now he's got my pikemen out of position. So my horse archers, or javelin men here, getting some fire on. And here I'm trying to come in with my own horse archers. The entirety of the Persian force, I believe, no, just some of them did an about face the Roman Syrian archers. So they're getting some flanking shots, and horses are toppling. I figured I would rather charge into this flank here and disrupt this as much as possible, mostly because they had reinforcements that would have intercepted me. So I decided to take out these javelin men, but they're getting on shots from me from everywhere, so it's not going to be enough. Thankfully, my ally lends a hand. But yeah, they were able to distract our forces pretty well elsewhere. And there goes my general, so he's going down. So that was a pretty big morale blow. Praetorians against hoplites. Praetorians are going to win that, so it's only going to be a matter of time before we bite the dust. But I still have more hoplites going around. They're going to be positioned here to try and stem the flow of these guys. Thankfully, they're going to decide to retreat, which means my archers, or my Eastern Javelin men here, can keep moving up. Now, I don't think these guys have any ammo left, so I'm going to throw them through this little corridor and help that out. Over in this position, I realize I have too many guys fighting, so I'm going to peel some of them over here to help out this flank. Just going to go ahead. I'm going to stop talking for a little bit, just because most of the battle has been decided, and now it's down to these beautiful engagements. So let's go and watch a little bit more of the beautiful engagements. As I said, can exploit the gap with my javelin men. Here they go, turning that flank. However, the Seleucids still have pretty good block of these javelin men pestering me. So I'm going to countercharge. Levy pikemen are going to take a lot of damage, but it's better than just sitting back. Over on this flank, what I was saying has happened. So, for instance, they're starting to pick off our levy pikemen. So they're down to 60 here, down to 103, and now we're going to charge forward. I think he's just throwing these Persian archers. They're out of ammo, so they're just trying to bait the javelin men to throw more stuff at them. However, the javelin men were smart enough to pull out of the action, and yep, these guys are just going to die to pikes. But it's going to be enough to pin these guys as opposed to falling back, and that's going to allow the Seleucids to really start draining the manpower on this front. Over here, the Romans are still holding together with the Praetorians. They are tired, however. That's what happens when you bang your head against a wall, which is hoplites. So I'm starting to get an advantage here. The Roman general is fearless, and he's going to come and smack into the back of my forces. I'm going to try and target this with my bronze shield pikeman block. This is probably the most important unit of the battle right now. These guys are excellent. Our opponents have pikemen. That's something hoplites can't deal with, but as long as I have this group in healthy numbers, I think we're good to go. Anyways, I'm continuing to throw some of my levy pikemen up through this front, just putting pressure on his skirmishers, keeping them at bay. We were able to charge in with some Thureo spears who were causing all kinds of chaos behind enemy lines. And I'm starting to actually break this a little bit, although I lost some skirmishers. And here, I've gotten his general isolated, so it's going to be payback for what they did to me. These guys will be falling soon, and that's going to be a big morale blow for this group. And here goes the general of the Romans. So not only are the Seleucids going to soon lose their general, yeah, he's down to 44 exhausted, he's going to start routing, but we also took out the Roman general. So, well, actually, Baktria lost the general too. So it's mostly a general-less battle at this point. So in that front, we're all even. Romans decide to recommit themselves to the front. I pull my guys back, hoping he would chase into pikes. He decided not to. He's going to fall back a little bit to the safety of this position. So I'm going to press my advantage. All these guys were able to force my levy pikemen back, and they're just killing my guys. So they're being a little too enthusiastic in the pursuit, I would say. Oh, that was... Did you guys see that? That was something out of 300. But, yeah. So I'm holding these guys back. As I said, they're a bit too enthusiastic. These Persians are not going to hold up to these elite Pontic guys coming charging in. Persian hoplites are nothing compared to the authentic Hellenic hoplites coming in. So we're going to force these guys back into their square. As I said, we're still facing the problem that the archers can take us out. They've done significant damage to the levy pikemen, but it looks like they're out of ammo, so at least that has stopped. So now it's going to be up to the pikemen to see who can kill who. And yeah, looks like that's it for units on the battlefield. So it's down to the last stand of these forces. Romans are looking like they're going to try and pull back into here, into the safety. But then they do an about face, and they're going to decide to charge against my bronze shield pikemen over there. I'm going to intercept with hoplites. I don't want these guys getting around this flank. And then I'm going to push forward here. They're continuing to bottle up. And it's a question of where they want to deploy their forces, because if they do this, that'll be better for countering my my elite hoplite units, and especially bronze shield pikemen. That's the main danger that he faces here. These are really cheap Persian hoplites. If you throw these guys against bronze shields, they're done. So I'm going to form up here, wait for the charge. I was sending my guys around the flank, so I'm just trying to bait them off to the side. And of all the units, they're going to avoid these bronze shield pikemen like the plague. So I'm able to catch them. Yes, they did charge into the back of my forces, but now they're pinned. I'm going to get a flanking shot. So these Persians, kind of like what we saw with Alexander the Great, are not going to be able to hold up to these guys. These forces here are sacrificing themselves just to hold back the Praetorian Guard. Now that the entire Seleucid force has been determinedly, sent over to try and kill my guys over here, now we're going to engage on this front. So a thin line in the center just to hold, and then we're going to send forces around the side. It's obviously how you want to handle these types of pike engagements. Now the Persian hoplites are going to be falling. They were able to massacre, I think, one of my units over here, so they were a little confident, but now I've pulled back this force to this flank, and they're going to be holding, brothers in arms, shield and shield against these Persians, holding them back. This is how it should be, and they're not going to stand up to this. They should really disengage at this point. And that's sort of what they're doing. They pulled this Persian hoplite out around the flank, hoping to get the best of me. He decides to change his mind and charge at the back of these hoplites, hoping to free these Romans and then cascade and knock into the back of those forces. But the gods of war are against them. Persians on this front are retreating. So look at that. I don't think, a single man in that engagement, and just guys sitting at the ground. They killed my force over there, so there we go. Romans being dispatched to help the pikemen front. They're disengaging because I turned around my pikes, and it's kind of a case of having your pikes in the right direction. So this unit is facing this front. They charge me in the back, but at least I have two units back to back that can help each other out. So look what's in the background too. The juicy backs of a pike battle. That's exactly where I want to go once this front is cleaned up. So I'm going to continue to put the pressure. Finally, these Persians are caught in the middle, and they're going to be massacred. So that's going to be the go-ahead. Romans were going to help to crush these spears. However, they turned about. And now they're going to try and engage on this flank. However, I do have my bronze shield still at 101. That's more than enough to handle those guys. So now this flank is collapsing. And it's only a matter of time. They've gone, from a big line to a square to now back-to-back ranks of pikes. This is how desperate it is. So they may be able to win on one side, but the flank is obviously exposed. And then here come my bronze shield pikemen. These guys are the MVPs of this battle. And just watch. They're going to form up in deep formation, go for this flank. It kind of looks like people corralling little kids. So they're just chasing these Praetorians, trying to get them to go where we want them. They're like, all right, guys, herding them away that way. But here he goes. Gonna position myself on the flank. Let's drop those spears. And now we're gonna push through the center. So a deep rank of pikes like this is very effective. And now we're gonna start poking our way across this line. This is gonna be what chews through them. And I still have some bronze shields that I'm just waiting for the perfect moment to engage here. And now that they've been given an additional attack command, they're going to just continue to just chew through these guys. So our opponents are going to fall back. They're going to try and form an even deeper line. And now it's really back to back. So my hoplites have chosen this time to engage. And again, let's watch these bronze shields from above. In these types of situations, I definitely recommend putting them in depth. It gives them more staying power and a lot more punch. And yeah, it'll just carve right through here because all of these pikemen won't be engaged, and I can punch through a thin line much more easily. Baktria was able to cut up that Roman side. The Praetorians are falling off to this flank to try and help out this front, but now my hoplites, who are still, you know, beefy units, are going to push back and really kill these exhausted Persians. This front here might have been able to hold a little longer, but the hoplites are going to be what is decisive in this engagement. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this 2v2. I'm really enjoying patch 15. Look at the last video where I talk a bit more about the dynamics of it. I think in this engagement I realized just how effective the horse archers are in this combat. They felt better, not overpowered, but they just felt more controllable, and they were definitely very, very effective. In any case, I hope you guys enjoyed. We're going to go ahead and check the stats once this battle runs out. And actually it looks like the Romans are still alive. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the patch. I know there are going to be some more changes coming, and I haven't actually been able to play any of the campaigns, so I'm still waiting for more details on that. But from what I've heard from people playing it, it's really cool. They like the additional change of the Civil War mechanics, where you can have multiple civil wars in a turn, and then just the dynamics of how it works. So we're waiting on more news from that. But yeah, it should be really cool. So hopefully they'll have that all polished up, and it should be a pretty new experience for the Rome 2 side of things. I'm just hoping to get some sort of awesome engagement here, but it seems to be just the generic back and forth bumping of shields. Come on, guys. 2v1. Alright. In any case, here comes the true sandwiching. So this is gory. And that's going to be it for the battle. You know, I think we just drove them into a corner. And yep, that's going to be it. So hope you guys enjoyed. Let's go ahead and watch a little bit of the stats and see what happened. So me and Blackjack got similar amounts of kills. Attila, not as well. The Evocati, who normally kick ass, were just pounded into the dust by Blackjack's horse archers. So we'll take a look at that soon. But just talking about how patch 15 works out. Hoplites getting a lot of kills. Horse archers getting kills. These are the Pontic Cav that just destroyed the 6 Roman equites that came against me, so that was a good engagement. My Eastern Scorpions, I told you they didn't necessarily say artillery weren't allowed. They usually aren't, but you know, they only got 25 kills, so I think that's fair enough. Run Shield Pikemen, these are the guys lasting till the end who got supreme number of kills. Javelin Men doing okay. Archers definitely paying for themselves. Rome, not so much. I mean, he doesn't have any unit that stands out besides the Praetorians, who were the ones who held out to the end. Blackjack, Elephants only got 62 kills, so not super amounts of kills as much as you'd see before. But the Scythian Horse Archers, 29, 97, 105, most of that is going to be against Evocati. So definitely paying for themselves. These guys paying for themselves. Levy Pikemen paying for themselves. Thrower Spears doing alright. Let's go ahead and look at Void. Void did a good job. His chariots, even though I stopped them pretty decisively with Javelin and Spearmen, and Pikemen, they still got 156 kills, so they still paid for themselves. It was mostly down to these Persian hoplites at the end, who are just not reliable units. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. There'll be more. Peace out.